the latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Our all in all, the saviors, the protectors, the unifiers, the messiahs, the kings of kings, our most loved. Captain Ibrahim Traore, Assimi Guita, and Abdurrahman Ichiani, our two generals, are shaking the table. They have done it again. They have successfully launched the biometric ID card of the three nations, and Captain Ibrahim Traore is the first person to receive this ID card. And this is what the three nations, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, people will be using wherever they go. That will be their identity card, and this is what they are going to be using to cross borders. This organization, AES, or the Sahel Alliance, is different from what we are seeing in Ecowas, in SADC, in other regional organizations, because they are united and they are doing things together. Unlike what we are seeing in Ecowas and other places, that they will never come to the aid of their brother when their brother is in need. Theirs is when they hear that there is a coup, that is the time you see how they function. But these three nations are showing Africans what it is to be an African, and how to live together as a bloc. Because we saw that when Mali was facing fuel crisis, Burkina Faso and Niger did everything possible to support Mali. When ECOWAS decided that they were going to invade Niger, we also saw the three nations coming together to fight against the invasion of ECOWAS, simple because they have decided that they will no longer be slaves. That is the only crime that they committed against ECOWAS. And these are the people that will sit there and be talking about African unity, reparation, and whatever. This is the same organization that said they have come together simple because they want to protect themselves, but we don't see that protection among themselves. This organization, like All in Us will always tell us, is not working for the interests of their people, but rather for the interests of the oppressor. And that is the reason to which they decided to leave the organization.
The president of Faso, the captain, Traoré, received his biometric identity card of the Confederation of the Sahel States. December 1st, 2025, from the minister, Burkinabe, in charge of security at the steps to obtain this document of identity of the AES space. The head of state is now evaluation of the biometric card. AES, the enlistment of the president of the Faso, thus marks the biometric identity card. AES, all Burkina Faso. The introduction of the materialized SIBE AES, a strong decision by the heads of the Confederation of the Sahel States, adopted at the December summit. Already, January 2026, the national identification will start mass production of this new identity document, whose reliability and level of security will contribute terrorism. Every HS citizen can from the age of 5, which becomes due from the age of 13. It costs 3,500 and has a validity of 10 years, designed in Swedish. CBUS meets international standards, the most demanding in terms of security and sustainability. Advanced security data verifies the reliability of identification and the protection of personal data. I am the You are D, exclaim. You are all I. No.
Burkina Faso leader Ibrahim Traoré on Monday became the first Sahel Alliance head of state to get an identity card backed by the region's confederation. Traoré received his ID from his security minister. With the introduction of biometric identity cards, the Sahel leaders seek to grow the profile of their new bloc and to deepen integration. The move also shows that Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger are determined in severing their ties with West African bloc Ecowas. The identity card is said to incorporate advanced security features that guarantee reliable identification and the protection of personal data. Starting in January 2026, the national identification offices of the three countries will begin mass production of the new identity document.
Exactly, it is to call yourself a bloc and to work together in unity. We see how ECOWAS is treating its members. Look at what is happening in Nigeria. If it were to be Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, we'll see these three nations coming together. But ECOWAS is silent, and Nigeria is facing its own trouble. We heard that the United States of America decided that they were coming to invade Nigeria because they believe that there is Christian genocide. And we're expecting that ECOWAS will come out with a statement to also defend Nigeria. They never came out. But these are the same people that are preaching democracy to the world. I wonder what kind of democracy it is when we cannot fight for ourselves, when we can't stand together firmly to defend ourselves. Look at what Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are doing, trying to unite the African, making us see ourselves as one. And this is what we have been preaching for a very long time. But the other organizations are out there begging, like Professor Lumumba will say, we are begging our oppressors to show us how we can even live in our freedom. And this is amazing, because any little opportunity they get to be in the presence of the oppressor, we see that what they do best is go and be begging. But Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are uniting, and they are fighting for their continent, and they are fighting for their respective countries, because always they make it clear to us that this fight is not only for Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, but for the continent. If truly we were serious as a people by now, this is the time that all African countries would have joined Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso to cause a change in Africa. But we've seen that no, this is not what our so-called democratic leaders are after, because these are the same people that have risen against Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, and they've even decided to suspend them from participating in anything that has to do with Africa. And that is why all in all, Captain Ibrahim Traoré said they are just taking their time, because now they don't even know whether they are part of that organization or not, because anytime they claim they are coming to meet with them to even talk things out, these people don't show up. Yes, and these are the same people that are sitting down calling African unity and saying that we have to find Africa solution to the African problem. And the only crime that these three nations committed was to say that we will never allow ourselves to be slaves. African Union is so glad that people are coming into the continent to be carrying the resources away while we suffer, because the resources in Africa aren't benefiting the African. Other people are enjoying it while we suffer. But when these people decided that they are going to take control over these resources and make sure that they use it to develop and cause a change and give their people a better life, it became a problem. So what is the essence of this organization? Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, we are so grateful that they came at the right time when a lot of us lost hope as Africans that we'll ever get our freedom. But they are showing us the way to revolution and the way to freedom, and we'll continue to fight until we get the total liberation that we are looking for. We have to fight for what we want, and we cannot get the unity we are preaching on a silver platter, on a piece of paper, like the way African Union and other regional blocs always go to read to themselves and do nothing. If truly we want to be united, then we have to act by showing to the world that the African is truly one people. At Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are doing everything possible to make sure that the Malians, the Burkinabes, the Nigerians will see themselves as Africans one people than to see themselves coming from different countries. Our unity is something that they are so scared of, and that is why they are making sure that whenever we rise, they use other people to fight against us. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are the hope of Africa. Long live Mali, long live Burkina, long live Niger, because without them, we don't know what would have been happening to us by now, because we are so tired. Like Paul Kagame said, the people, each time you see them revolting and calling for coups, it means that they have been suffering for a very long time in silence, and they've cried, and there is nobody that came to their aid. And that is what is happening. That is why we are so excited with Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Like Paul Kagame rightfully said, these people, what they are supposed to use to develop the nation, rather ends up in individual pockets. And that is why they can never call each other out, and they will always stand against leaders that are rising to make sure that they cause a change in their respective countries. And that is exactly what we are seeing happening in other parts of Africa. We are tired of being slaves. Like Maduro will say, the Venezuelan president, that we are no longer slaves. We are not your slaves. And that is the message AES is sending, and making sure that we develop and do what they said the African cannot do. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall. And united we keep standing forever and ever. United we stand, divided we fall. And united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make African great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in AES.